The province of Quebec's government has created quite a stir in Canada with its attempt to rid of all religious symbols from the public sector. In early September, it introduced a Charter of Values prohibiting all civil servants from wearing Muslim headscarf, Sikh turbans, Jewish kippahs, and other obvious religious symbols, while allowing, however, discreet jewellery like pendants and rings. This is the first time a Canadian province is attempting to create a completely secular environment in its offices. Bernard Drainville, minister in charge of the new charter, claimed that if the state is neutral, those working for the state should be equally neutral in their image. Nonetheless, he's still facing some important questions, such as who would judge what size of crucifix is allowed? Would witnesses in court still be allowed to swear on the Bible? And isn't the plan likely to target Muslim women? Meanwhile, an important teachers' union and many mayoral candidates in the Montreal region have promised that they will do everything possible to obtain a special status, exempting them from the proposed charter. People in the far-removed city of Saguenay, Quebec, population of nearly 150,000, have rallied to show support for a vandalized mosque. At some point during the last August weekend, the city's sole mosque was vandalized. Someone smeared the building with what seemed to be pig's blood and left behind a letter demanding that all Muslims assimilate or go home. On the 6th of September, before Friday prayers, Christian and other non-Muslims shut up outside the religious building in a show of support for the small Islamic community. Radio Canada quoted one of the organisers. The demonstration is a base for building bridges between different faiths within the community, to find a common ground on which to talk to each other, exchange ideas, and also support each other when something like this happens. One of the corporation's surveillance cameras shows a man dropping off a letter at the mosque's doors. Police representatives have declared him a person of interest and are asking for the public's help in identifying the man. What is good for the goose should be just as good for the gander, but not according to the District School Board of Niagara, Ontario, Canada. Since 1964, the Gideons have been offering free Bibles to all grade 5 students in this school board. 3 years ago, a local atheist decided that if the Gideons could distribute their Bibles, he should also be allowed to distribute copies of Just Pretend, a free thought book for children. Having met with refusal, Mr. René Chouinard believed that the board was discriminating against him, and off to court he went, the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal to be exact. In an effort to ensure their victory, the school trustees changed their policy and allowed the distribution of religious texts, so long as they came from religions listed in the Ontario Multi-Faith Information Manual. But since atheism is not considered a religion in the province, Mr. Chouinard was still facing a closed door. That is why on August 13th, the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal ruled in the plaintiff's favour, declaring the policy biased. In its decision, the tribunal affirms that the policy was discriminatory because of its definition of acceptable materials violated substantive equality by excluding the kinds of material central to many creeds. The ruling also noted that less traditional religious groups like the Falun Gong were excluded, and that even some Christian texts deemed not sacred enough were banned by the board's policy. In a letter to the trustees, Mr. Chouinard had written that we believe that if non-theistic material was distributed in an Ontario public school, people would insist that the public school system is not the place for people with a religious agenda. And that is our point exactly. The board has now 6 months to put a new policy in place if it wants to continue distributing Gideon Bibles.